Welcome back to the channel. Today I've decided to make another Arch Linux install video or installer guide, and this time I will do it on VirtualBox. This is a free program to run virtual machines inside, and it's very popular, so I thought I will do it this time in VirtualBox. And as you can see, I'm actually running an Arch system over here, and this is basically what you can call recursion. So we are installing Arch Linux virtual machine on an Arch Linux system. Of course, in real life this would be kind of useless, but it's just more comfortable to install on a VirtualBox because you have to reboot and restart the system. And when you're recording, it's pretty annoying to do that. So I will do it in VirtualBox this time, and I guess we will start. So as I'm already in a Linux environment, or more specific Arch Linux, I just install VirtualBox like that, sudo pacman as VirtualBox like that. Press enter, and as you can see, I've already installed it, so I want to do it once again. And now this is very important. If you're running an operating system with a Linux kernel, you have to install this. So sudo pacman as VirtualBox host modules like that. And as you can see, I've already installed that too. So that's it. And for example, on Ubuntu or any Debian based system, I think you would write sudo apt install and then VirtualBox like that, but I'm not 100% sure. And of course, if you're on Windows, you just download it from the website. You can go to virtualbox.org and you can see Windows hosts, and then just press here and it will download it immediately. So as some of you guys probably know, this is my GitHub, this is my username. You can find me under this URL. And then you can press here .files, and you will have all my configuration files. And I've also written here a small summary, or basically a guide on how to install Arch Linux. And yeah, I've also added some of this stuff, you know, if you're on EFI or BIOS. So this guide is now pretty complete, and yeah. Alright, then I would say I will open a new workspace. That, let me see. Let's do it like that. And then you can open VirtualBox. And this is VirtualBox. Then you can add here new, and I will type in the name of the system, Arch Linux. This is the folder the files will get stored. And then you need an ISO image, and this you will find over here, archlinux.org download. Then I will just choose the worldwide one. Then you can press here Arch Linux x86-64. Press that, and then you can download it. Now I've already done a download, I guess. Let's see. As you can see, I've already downloaded it. So I will download it another time. And yeah. Then you can press here, change, and you can then switch to the folder you've downloaded it and choose the ISO image like that. This should be done automatically. In case it's not, choose Linux and Arch Linux 64-bit. And by the way, this is a 64-bit operating system, and VirtualBox basically emulates that, so I guess it would be even okay if you install it this way I'm showing you on bare metal, and you can try it. Maybe you have to tweak some stuff in the X server, but I think most of the stuff will be exactly the same. So here I can choose the RAM. I will do 2 gigabytes, that's okay. And the storage, I will do 32 or 33 gigabytes, sorry. 32 gigabytes. Next. Then you can press done. Then I would say just let's start. You can double press on it. I will close that. Now I think, as you can see, this is not working right now, but we will do it. And I will just do it like that for the moment. Now this is the scaled mode, so it will basically just scale to the size of the window, and that's why the font might look a little bit blurred, but we will fix everything, don't worry. And as you can see, we are going into the installer. It needs some seconds. And now what I'm basically doing is just following this step or this guide step by step. And yeah, I think I will, let's keep it like that. So I will do it like that, so it will be easier. So we are in the Arch installer. And now, first thing, I will check if there is internet, and as you can see, we have a connection, so that's fine. And now we have to change the console keyboard layout. So mine, I'm using a Swiss keyboard, so I will do load keys, DE, CH, Latin 1. Now it's adjusted to my keyboard. If you're not sure which language you have to choose, you can go into this Emaps, map.gz. Okay, user, share, KBD, key maps, that that. And as you can see here, I have all the languages. This is the one I'm choosing here, DE Latin. And yeah, just search for your country name, and then you can set it as I've shown you with load keys, and mine is like that, but you have to find the name in the list. Alright, and then I guess I will change the font in the console, so I can do that by typing set font, let2, terminus 16. As you can see, we have now another font. Alright, then I will do fdisk L, and this will show you the name of the disk. So in my case, dev SDA. It's on the third line over here, dev SDA. Now we have to make sure if this VirtualBox is booting on EFI or on BIOS. We can do that by typing ls sys render VirtualBox. Now, as you can see, no such file or directory, and that means that I'm using BIOS over here. If you would have a list over there, typing ls, then you would choose UEFI. But in my case, I'm using BIOS. So maybe just to show you really quick, in my guide, as you can see, we have done this step, and now as you can see, I had an error, no such file or directory. So that means I have to go with BIOS. This is the partition table for UEFI. As I've said, we are going with BIOS with MBR. That's the one we are using. Then can again press F-L, and then you can press F-Disk and the name of the disk. In my case, dev SDA. Alright, and now we are in the F-Disk program and we can start partitioning. So you will type O to create a new GPT partition table. Now we will do two partitions, one for the swap and one for the root system. Now you can type N for new, and then primary, you can just press enter, or P, and then partition number default is 1, so I press enter. First sector, enter, and last sector we will do 512M, like that. And now we have to change the type of the partition, so I press T, and then I will type the alias swap, like that. Now I will do another partition with N, P, then 2, then the first sector is good, and the last one is also good, enter, enter, and then we can make the root partition bootable, so press A, and default is 2, press enter, and then, and this is probably the step most people tend to forget, you have to write W to write the changes. So this is basically saving the changes you have made. W, and as you can see, we are out of the F-Disk program, and now if I type F-Disk L, as you can see, we have two partitions, dev SDA1 and dev SDA2, like that. Right. And then we have to do the formatting, so I will type mkfs, make file system, ext4, that's a kind of a file system, and dev, and then you have to choose the root partition, which in my case is SDA2, like that. And then we make swap, and we choose the swap partition, which is SDA1. Right, and then type again F-Disk L, so I can see the partitions. We have to mount the file system, so we mount dev SDA2 because this is the root partition, and we will mount this in the directory root mount or /mount, like that. and then we do swap on dev SDA1, because this is the partition for the swap. Alright, that's done. And now we can start installing some packages using pacstrap, flag capital K. Don't forget to type here mnt for mount. This is the mount directory we have created seconds ago. And we will install base. This is the base system. Without that you won't be able to boot into the system. Base level, these are some developer tools. You have a C compiler, GCC, and other stuff you will need. Then Linux firmware, E2FS prox, this is for the file system. Then DHCPCD, this is for the network manager, of course. And then some software for the sound, firmware. We need Git, newvim, mandb, manpages, and text info. Text info is just a layer for the man pages. Press enter. Alright, we have an error. That's because I've misspelled network manager. We'll go back. Network manager. Like that. As you can see now, it's installing the packages. Now this should actually take a little bit faster, but as you know, I'm recording, plus I'm in a virtual environment, so it takes a little bit longer than usual, but we will be good. And as I've said, you can try to even install it with this guide on your system directly, so not on a virtual machine, but on your system. And I will show you some of the stuff that don't work or that you should change in a real system, because of course on a real system you have a lot more power than on a virtual machine, and virtual machines are usually very limited, but they've improved a lot over the years, so they are pretty fluent. They run without errors or without bugs. But of course, if you're using Arch on your main system, you will see the difference. Alright. I think we are done. Not quite yet. And of course, if there are any questions, just leave a comment and I will try to answer. And I always also point to the Arch Wiki, because it's probably the best documentation of any Linux distribution. So even if I have any problem, I will go to the Arch Wiki or just Google what's the problem. But maybe if you're using my guide, I can help you if you face problems during the install or in the configuration after the install. Right. Still not done. maybe just to show you something really quick. And if you face problems in Pac-Man, if there are some errors because of the signatures and authentication, you can try to use this commands Pac-Man key init, Pac-Man key populate, and then you have to synchronize the arch keyring. So there is sometimes some problems with that, but anytime I faced a problem like this, I've just run these commands and then it worked. That's just a quick note. Right, we should be done. We are done. Then we have to generate the fstep file. Just type gen fstep flag capital U with mount, and we send the output to mount etc fstep. Now if I open this file just to see if everything is all done, and as you can see, these are our two partitions we have created, one for the swap and one for the root system. Alright, and now we can already root into our real system. Like that. As you can see, now we are in the system we have installed, and then we can set the time zone. We create a symbolic link using ln flag sf in user share zone info. My region is Europe and my city is Zurich, but to find out, just cd into zone info, and then you will find all the regions and all the city available. Okay, and then we will put a symbolic link into etc local, like that. Now if I go to etc local time or etc, we should have this local time, as you can see. Then we do hv clock, and this is for synchronizing the internal clock, like that. Then we have to create the localization files, so I will do nvim etc local.gen, and I will uncomment tech, and it doesn't matter which language you're choosing, always also uncomment enus. These two lines over here, this is very important because some programs will fall back to this language and you will prevent a lot of bugs if you uncomment these. So write quit like that, and then you can run local gen, and then it's generating the localization files. Like that. Then we will create another file in etc local.conf, and we set lang equal ech.qtf8 in my case, because my system language will be German, but if you have another language, just go to the, I will show you. Just go to this local gen or I'm doing etc local gen, I'm doing etc local gen like that, and you will have to find your language, your preferred language. For example, here we have Arabic and the country, Libya, for example, Morocco, Saudi Arabia. You know, you just find your language and your country. And then you will put it inside etc local.conf as I've did. So you type lang capitalized and then the code. Okay, and then we have to create another file, bconsole.conf, and this is the console you're seeing now all the time. And I will do keymap DECH Latin 1, and font, even though it's not really important, you choose a font, but I prefer Terminus font like that. And for the key map, it's the one from the beginning we have done. So just show you. Inside user share kvd keymaps double star.map.gz, and here you will find the keymaps. Right, and let's see, then we have to do some network configuration. So I will create the file etc hostname, and here you can choose any name you want, and this will be your hostname. So as you've seen in the terminal, there will be username, and then your hostname. So I will choose Arch, and inside etc hosts we have to add some IP addresses. So this is localhost, this is for localhost, like that, and 11, and then your hostname that you have chosen, like that. Then we have to do the init ramfs, so make init cpio and flag capital P. And now it's basically building the system up again. And this takes some seconds. Alright, then you have to do a password for root passvd, and then type the password, and again like that. And the last step in the installation process is that you need a bootloader. So a bootloader is basically just a tool that will put your operating system and the kernel, or basically the operating system, into memory. And the bootloader basically is the beginning. When you press the power on button on your computer, then the bootloader will start. And I use grub since basically years, and grub is probably the best one. So we will install Pacman as graph. Yes. Then use fdisk-l to see the name of your disk. The name of the disk is dev-sda, as we saw before. So you can do grub install dev-sda. Alright, and then we have to make a grub config file. Using grub make config, output will be in boot grub cfg. Alright, then you press exit to go out of the chroot environment, and then you have to unmount the mount directory. Like that. Now we can type power off, and it will then close the virtual machine. Like that. Now I open again VirtualBox, and now it's pretty important that you do change over here. Then inside this, I now don't remember how it's pronounced in English, but it's the fourth one. You click on this CD icon, and then again this little CD icon, and then remove that, because this is the installation disk and we have installed the system, so we don't need that. Alright, and then we can run it once again. Close that one. Arch Linux. Now I can begin root, and as you can see, we are inside our system. Now the first thing is make sure you have a connection, which in my case is not the case. So we have to enable first network manager, start and enable, like that. Alright, now again I will check, doing the same thing, and as you can see we have a connection. That's fine. Then we can update the system. Everything is updated, and then we need the sudo command. Or it's already installed actually, but yeah, just to make sure. And then on Linux you should not use root as your main user. You should always create a specific user or a personal user account. So we will do that. User add flag M, flag G users, and then flag capital G, real storage, power, video, audio, and your name. And these are groups, and this will then basically allow your user account to do some privileged tasks that are normally just for root user, but you can do it like that. Stuff like in storage or power management and stuff like that. Press enter, and then you can type password and your username, and you can type a new password like that. Next step, type editor, capitalized, and nvim, and type vsudo like that. Then you can search for real, and you choose the second one and uncomment it like that. You have to delete this hashtag symbol. Right. side, and then we can switch to the new user account. Go to the home directory like that. And then, as you can see, my home directory is empty, but I want to have the default folders like pictures, downloads, music, stuff like that. So you can use sudo pacman as xtg user there's. Then you can run xtg user there's update like that. If I type ls now, as you can see, I have the default folders. The next thing we need is the AUR package manager, because on Arch Linux there is an official repo for packages, and there is a repository for third-party developers, and Yay will help you with that. So we will install Yay. And let's install Git. Actually, it's already installed, but just make sure you have that. I will make in my home directory a folder called AUR. Let's cd into that folder, sorry, and I will git clone https AUR Linux org yay.git like that. Then I will clone our cd into yay, and then we can run make package flag si. Enter. Usually AUR packages take a little bit longer than the official packages, but that might be also because I'm on a virtual machine, and additionally I'm recording, so I'm sorry if it's a little bit slow. I'm also not on the most recent hardware, but yeah, it should be done in some seconds. Yes. Alright, we are done. Then I will go back to the home folder or home directory. And now for VirtualBox, we will need VirtualBox guest utils. This is just that the full screen will work and that the resolution will be a little bit better than what it is now. Like that. Alright, then for the sound we need some packages, Pulse Audio, ALSA Uptails, ALSA Plugins, and Kavu Control. Like that. Alright, then some network related configurations. We need packages OpenSSH, IW, this is for wireless. Now, most of the stuff is actually handled by network managers, so I guess you will be fine without installing them, but it's always good to have an alternative on your system if one fails, like that. Alright, and then we have to enable sudo systemctl enable sshd and dhcpcd. These are network related stuff. Now for Bluetooth, you will need loose utils and blueline. Like that. And then again we have to enable it in the systemctl enable Bluetooth. Alright, then in the next step, it's not really that necessary, but I will do it anyway. So etc.pacman.conf, you can uncomment color, and then below you can type I love candy, capitalized like I did here. And this is just if you install Pacman packages, there will be a small animation and some color, but it's not necessary. Then you do systemctl enable fstring.timer. So I guess this is for temporary files which get deleted after some time. Then time synchronization, so sudo pacman smtp. Then enable again systemctl enable mtpd. Right, and then time date ctl set ntp true. That password, like that. Alright, now we have done some system stuff, but you actually don't want to stay your whole life in a black box terminal. You want to have a graphical user interface, and that's what we will install right now. So I'm using Xserver. You can also use Wayland, but Xserver has proved to be pretty stable over the years, even though some people say this is legacy, but I'm pretty satisfied with Xserver, so I will install these packages. And then for the window manager, I use the good old i3. And i3.2 has proved to be very stable. Press enter, enter. like that. Now, after installing Xserver and i3, you have to, in your home directory, you have to create .xinit rc, and then just type exec i3 like that, save it. And we need a compositor for the graphical effects, and I'm using Ecom. And we need some fonts for the system, so Pacman S, I will use Noto fonts emoji, like that. And then you will also need a nerd font, because nerd fonts have some special symbols that normal fonts don't have. So we will download this from Yay or from the AUR, and it's called TTF Fira Code Nerd. Like that. And as you can see, if you're using Yay, it's basically the same as Pacman from the appearance and stuff. Alright, then I don't use Bash, I use ZSH. It's a little bit more modern and it has some cool stuff. We will change the shell, CHSH flag S, $which ZSH in parentheses or parentheses. Okay, password. So we have changed the shell. Now we need some terminal emulators. I will install the default one on i3, even though I don't use it. Alacrity and Kitty. Now I'm using Kitty because it has some really fancy stuff going on, but you can use any terminal emulator you would like. New Vim we have installed. We need an app switcher. So I will download dmenu and Rofi. I only use Rofi, but as I've said, it's always good that you have an alternative to the system. If Rofi may fail, for example, you have dmenu. And some additional stuff for Rofi, Rofi Emoji, and Rofi Calc. Then I will download the status bar, which is called Polybar. Yes. We need a file manager. I use Ranger because it's a terminal-based file manager, but you can also use a GUI one as you like. And for Ranger, we need some additional packages. And these two are mainly for file preview. Right, then some GUI programs. I need, of course, a web browser, which is Firefox, and VLC, which is a media player, and a PDF viewer, which I use Satura PDF, PDF, like that. Okay. And I will also download some additional packages. TLDR is too long, didn't read, and this is basically a cheat sheet for commands in the command line. Then FZF is a fuzzy file finder, tar for unzipping and unzipping files, vzip basically the same, htop, which is comparable to Task Manager in Windows, and of course good old new fetch, the most used command by any Arch user, like that. let's see if new patch is working. As you can see, like that. Then there are some additional programs, or should I say alternatives to traditional commands. For example, we have fd, which is an alternative to the find command. We have root grep, which, as the name implies, is an alternative to grep. We have bat, which is a cat alternative, and lsd, which is a new ls, basically. Yes. Then to take screenshots, we will need the name, MAIM. Okay. And I will also, you won't need this, I guess, but if you're programming, it's very good that you have some language that's already installed. I installed, for example, CodeSpell. This checks if the code is correct. Go, LuaRox, Ruby, Gems, Composer, PHP, Node.js. Let's see, npm yarn Python pip. This is the Python package installer. We have Java stuff over here. Even though I hate Java, but JDK, OpenJDK, Julia, wget, and Crow. This will take some time. You even don't need all of this stuff. I've just made it so that in Mason, which is a language server manager inside NeoVim, if you run inside NeoVim the check health command, you will get some warnings, and just doesn't look so nice if you have a lot of warnings. So I just installed everything, but you don't really need to install all of them, as you wish. Alright, the last thing is from Yay PowerShell binaries, which also is not that important, but why not? Alright, and now we are done. We can do a reboot, sudo reboot, and crossing fingers that everything will work. Alright, I log in with my user. I press 0. This is for ZSH. We will configure it then, and we can use start X. And as you can see, this is the default plain i3 configurations. Press enter. I will use the Windows key as my modifier. And now we are inside X server in i3 instance, and if I press Windows key enter, as you can see, we have here a terminal. So I can do new fetch like that, but I will go with Windows key D, hitting, and as you can see, this is the terminal emulator I'm using. Now in X server they have other key maps, so I have to set this first. Set X keyboard map, and in my case it's CH. I guess in your case, if you're from English speaking, you can use US, or you just have to find your country code. But in my case, CH, like that. Now let's check if the internet is working. We click out of here, Windows key D, and I will open up Firefox. I go to my GitHub page. Alright, this seems to be working. I go to my dot files. Now, as you can see, if you already have a running Arch system with the necessary packages installed, you can go to the quick rising section. So I have made here an install script, just so that you don't have to manually copy all my config files to your config folder. So this script will do that automatically for you. You just grab this command, then Windows enter, and then you can press the mouse wheel, enter, like that, and then you should be in the right directory, as you can see. And all there is to do now is just run install.sh, and very important, because you're on VirtualBox, as a command line argument you will type vbox, like that. Press enter, and this is the script I have told you about. You can press yes or Y, and it will clone all the necessary config files, and then it will clean up itself. Alright, and then let's do another reboot to see what it looks like. Login, and as you can see, you have a fully configured Linux system over here. Now I will do new fetch. It's working. Okay. I go to bin, and you have to actually download some stuff. So first thing, run packer install. Very important. And then, as you can see, it will install all the plugins for NeoVim. Okay. As you can see, we have then to run COQ depths, which I will do in a moment. COQ depths. Move this a little bit so you can see it. And this will install the dependencies for COQ. Now only Mason is left. Let me actually open up Mason so we can see some progress. And Mason is a manager in NeoVim for LSP servers. As you can see, only one is left, I guess, so that's fine. Done. Alright, and as you can see, the CPU is down at 20%, so now it's of course a lot faster. If I would not be recording, you have a very fluent system over here. And let's actually, I will git clone some code so I can show you NeoVim. And as you can see, by the way, I can switch here the windows. I can go to that and that using just my keyboard. I can resize, as you can see. All right, and maybe just to show you NeoVim really quick. Oh yeah, by the way, Firefox, you can also add the error forest theme. This one. As you can see, now you have the same theme style. Right, now what I want to do is just get some code over here so I can show you in NeoVim. As you can see, I can grab that. Let's see it in downloads. Click clone, then Control Shift V to copy or to paste. Like that. And if I go inside courses, let's do Ranger. As you can see now, LSP server attaches to your buffer. As you can see now, we have the LSP server clang D, and what this will do is it will allow you to use, you have, for example, auto suggestions. Or if you write something, as you can see, if you have errors, it will show you automatically. And you have a formatter, and for example, I hope it works. As you can see, I can format my code. If I put like that, or I have here some spaces. Or that, you know, formatted very badly. Then I can press space F and it will format everything. And I've actually made a specific video on that new rim, so you can check that out. And yeah, maybe just to show you, there will be even picture previews inside your terminal, so that's also pretty nice. And of course you have telescope, you have the Vim key bindings. As you can see, this is my recently opened file. You have live grab, you can search, for example, xinit or i3, for example. As you can see now, it gives me every file that has i3 bird in it. Alright, I think that's all. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.